I'm excited to welcome Alicia Aebersold to the Association 100 today. Alicia is with the American Psychological Association. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me, Megan. It's great to be here.
So much has been covered in the news about mental health and the struggles that people are dealing with. How is the APA working with its members to help combat that?
Yeah, there's no doubt that the mental health emergency we're facing in this country and globally has been exacerbated by the pandemic and all of the systemic crises that we're facing every day: climate change, gun violence, racism. Our annual Stress in America survey found that nearly a third of adults say their stress levels are so high they sometimes struggle with even basic decisions, such as what to wear and what to eat. So there's certainly a mental health crisis, but there's also a stress crisis, an anxiety crisis. And our members are need our support in helping to attack that crisis. We have 130,000 of those members, and they range from working in academic research, K through 12 schools, the armed forces, business and industry, and of course, in private psychology practice. We have psychologists working at Google, they're members of Congress, they head up associations. And because the field is so diverse as an association, we have to support them in a way that's very diverse.
I think that's amazing. Because my next question is, how did the pandemic change the way you communicate with your members? And it sounds as if it's changed in many ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we normally would do is ask our members what they need. That's what all associations do, right? You survey your members. But remember how it was at first? Like none of us could predict. No one would, said that first week, this is going to be an ongoing multi-year crisis. So immediately we just decided to rely on what we already knew. Like we didn't think we were going to have time to ask them what they needed. And we all, as people, were feeling panic and anxiety. So how can we help our members immediately? So we pivoted into this kind of support mode. Like how can we best help our members and the public cope with all this uncertainty? A lot of that came from content developed. Like we created and released and reframed hundreds of pieces of content in the first few weeks. And then we worked with trying to help basically an emergency transformation of the in-person therapies to telehealth, which, was a big deal. And then challenges introduced for researchers who found their research activities were curtailed by social distancing. Like, how do you get research subjects in? You can't. The concerns with psychology students and their faculty who now have to learn and teach and study and graduate, even graduate at a distance. And we work to elevate issues around equity, especially pulling together efforts to help frontline healthcare workers. So with our members, we did regular town halls. And then I think the biggest thing we did is we changed not just the level of all this content we were producing, but the cadence of delivering it to our membership. We really upped how often we communicated with them, which kind of goes against the normal, stop sending us emails thing. And in delivering that content to our members more often in the midst of that crisis when it first began, we discovered that they read it more, they shared it more. All of our open rates skyrocketed. But most importantly, I think we supported our members, not just in their careers and their work, but as humans. There's researchers are struggling with their research and their kids are home full time. There's clinicians who are trying to help people deal with grief who lost a loved one. There's students struggling with actual anxiety about their classes and how they're going to become psychologists. So I think a lot of those efforts have stayed with us in terms of increased content but also I think that idea of remembering that our members themselves were facing these issues just like we were was probably the most important thing.
So this has been great. Thank you, Alicia. I appreciate you joining. And thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in.
Yes, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.